Boys, I know a lot of you guys are thinking like me. You're seeing what's happening in this country. Everything's just getting really, really weird. You got men playing in women's sports. The border's wide open. This election might be the most important election in US history. I know you guys feel the same way. That's why we're teaming up with sendthevote.com to make sure that everybody votes. Sendthevote.com is neither left or right. It's about making sure that everybody votes. And when you vote, we're making sure that your vote is actually counted. We can't just be tweeting and posting about all this stuff, guys. Everybody's voice has to be heard this election. You guys need to get up off your and actually vote. If you know somebody that's not registered to vote, wake them up because everybody needs to vote. So guys, go to sendthevote.com if you're not registered or you don't know how to vote. Seriously guys, this is our last chance. I know you guys feel the same way as me. Sendthevote.com. Make sure your vote is counted. All right, boys, finally, football is back. Prize Picks has the best deal right now for football season. Use code NELK and just put in $5 on your first lineup and you're instantly gonna get $50, no strings attached, on Prize Picks right now. So, if you guys have never tried the Prize Picks app, you've gotta try it out for football, all right? Every single weekend, we are gonna be posting Prize Picks. There's nothing like firing on football. You guys are probably doing fantasy and stuff. If you guys know what players are gonna perform in college and in NFL, download the Prize Picks app. This is the app for you. I have tried every single app out there when it comes to firing on sports, and Prize Picks is by far the best. Instead of choosing teams, you're choosing individual players. So each player has a set projection, and then it's up to you. You either go more or less than that set projection. The more you put together, the more your picks is gonna multiply, the more money you can make. So guys, take advantage of this code. This code is a sweet deal. Use code NELK, put in just $5, and you're instantly gonna get 50. Beautiful, beautiful deal. Take advantage of that. That's for you boys. Download the Prize Picks app. Let's get on the pod.
President Trump, back on the podcast.
We're back.
This is the third time we've had President Trump on the podcast.
Yeah. Dana got it started, right? Who would have thought?
We appreciate you coming back for the third time. We know you're busy, right in the heat of the election. You're doing a lot of stuff, so we appreciate you coming back. But yeah, the first time we met you, 2020, Air Force One with Dana White. Dana White set it all up. Great friend. And then...
is he incredible, by the way?
He's the best.
Nobody like him.
Nobody like him. And then we had you on the podcast after, I think it was the Afghanistan withdrawal, the horrendous withdrawal.
That
and
disaster.
Then we golfed with you. We've seen you at UFC, and now you're back here for the third time. So we just want to thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. It's good. You look well, all of you.
Thank you.
You're still the hottest guys around, I think, huh?
Yeah.
Did you ever think this was going to happen?
I never thought it would happen. I mean, the first time we had you on was just insane, and the way that it all unfolded. I remember you told us it was going to get deleted after it got 12 million views in 12 hours.
Yeah. It was your all-time record. And I said, if we mention the election, they'll delete. Remember?
And I didn't believe you.
Yeah. Well, they're fascists. These people are crazy. And hopefully we're going to have a great election. We're going to beat them. But these people are crazy. They've done a terrible job running the country. They did a terrible job with North Carolina with the problems. I mean, people have been treated very badly. And the border is the most unsafe border anywhere in the world. But they're worried about us talking, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're worried about us having a little conversation.
I had recently seen a clip of John Kerry talking to the World Economic Forum, talking about like, we need to be weary of the First Amendment in relationship to like misinformation and social media platforms, like people being able to say what they want. I also saw a clip of Kamala talking, I think it was on the NAACP board, talking about how like what Elon Musk is doing with Twitter is like, it's getting scary for democracy to be able to essentially govern itself.
Yeah. And
it's weird because it seems as if like that side is the side kind of pushing towards a total censorship unless it follows their kind of their line or their line of information.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that as far as moving forward as president?
Well, I think that John Kerry has been a disaster. All he talks about is the environment. In the meantime, China, all these other countries, they don't do what he suggests. He meets with them and they go, yes, yes, yes. They yes him to death. And then they laugh at him when he leaves. In the meantime, we tie up our jobs and our plants on things that are unnecessary. We want immaculate water. We want beautiful, clean air. and we had the cleanest air, the cleanest water. I mean, if you were to look at my stats on the environment, I had great stats, but I also had the best employment numbers, and our factories worked. We had factories that worked and worked really well. They're willing to give up so much. I actually think they're bad people. Do you want to know the truth? I think they're bad people. There's a lot of bad stuff going on. But John Kerry would go around. I guess he's not doing that so much anymore. He got tired of it. He'd get in his private plane. And if you believe in that, he shouldn't be taking a private plane. He's supposed to actually swim.
Pretty hypocritical.
Supposed to swim. No, the whole thing is ridiculous. And the country's not doing well. But when you look at, I mean, we have a big election coming up. Look, in literally a very short period of time. I guess it's 23, 24 days, right? We have an election coming up, November 5th. But it's actually going on right now as we speak. You know, we used to have an election on one day with paper ballots and voter ID. Today we have computers going all over the place. We have a whole big deal. And we have them starting early and sometimes going late. It's crazy. And we have to get back to strong borders and fair elections. We have to do it.
Yeah.
And I think we will. So we're leading in the polls.
Big time.
We're doing well. We're against somebody that has no clue what's going on. They did something that you guys would relate to because you're into this whole world, but you relate to it. 60 Minutes, she gives a horrible answer, and they change the answer. I think it's the biggest scandal in broadcast history. They actually took her answer out and gave her a different answer.
Yeah. I saw that.
After it was shot. And it's turned out to be a scandal. But I think it's the worst thing I've seen in broadcast that I've ever seen. I think it's the biggest scandal in broadcast history. Number one, it's election interference. Number two, they get a license, and it's supposed to be a license based on free press, fair press, and honesty. Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but I think it's a disaster.
What was your thoughts on Kamala going on Call Her Daddy while the hurricane was going on in North Carolina?
Well, I was terrible. I mean, I don't know the show. I know your show, but I don't know that
This
show.
is a lot bigger.
We
a
are
lot
crushing
bigger.
her in the
Yours
numbers.
is, right?
A lot bigger.
I would think so.
Yeah.
No, to go on that show, from what I heard, was pretty crazy. Right?
Yeah, it was.
Pretty crazy. During the hurricane.
During the hurricane.
And she's barely been down there. And Ron DeSantis doesn't want her down there because she was trying to freewheel it. And he's right.
Did you call Elon for help during the hurricane?
I did. So Elon is a friend of mine, a friend of yours too, right?
Yeah, we've had him on the podcast too.
He's great. He's a great guy. He endorsed me very big. And when I went to North Carolina, they said, we need a level of communication. We don't have, everything was knocked down. The wires are down. They couldn't communicate. So they had Starlink. And they said Starlink. I didn't know what Starlink was, but they said it was Elon. They said, you know Elon? I said, yes, we all know Elon, right? And I said, what do you want? And we need Starlink to communicate. And I said, let me see. I called up Elon, and within 2 seconds, and it's hard to get it. They couldn't get it. And we got it for North Carolina. But, you know, it was delayed by the Democrats. It was actually delayed. It should have gone faster. He had it there right away, and they wouldn't give it. There's some bad things. They've done a terrible job. North Carolina in particular has done a terrible job. Whether you call it FEMA, I call it the White House more than FEMA. When I had FEMA, they were unbelievable. But the White House has done a terrible job on North Carolina and other parts. I mean, you know, there were 6 or 7 states that were hit. Virginia was hit. People don't even know that. But Virginia and South Carolina and Georgia, Florida, Alabama, they were hit, and they were hit hard. But they've done a lousy job. It's probably the worst job since Katrina. Biden and Kamala, Lion Kamala, they've done a bad job.
But you're up in the polls. I know I've seen you post Polymarket on Truth Social.
Yeah.
They have you up by 3%, and this is different because it's actual people wagering real money on it. 1.7 billion on you to win. So people say it's a more accurate way to actually assess polling.
What's
what do you
that?
think about that?
Yeah,
this is what Elon tweeted out. He posted
I
that
see.
you're up 3
that's
points
good.
on Polymarket.
So I looked at it before. We're up 9 points, and I think we had one where we're up 50 points. I'll give you that one. I think we're going to do well. Look, this woman is incompetent. She's done a terrible job. she's got a lot of problems, and we had that for 4 years with Biden, and we can't have another 4 years. We're not going to have a country left. You won't even have your show left. Okay, we're not going to have a country left, and on top of that, we are very close to World War III. We really are, very, very close to World War III, and if we don't solve it, we're going to have a lot of problems, and we've never been in a position of danger like we are right now because of nuclear weapons, because of the whole nuclear thing, and other types of weapons. Yeah. And we have to get it straightened out.
We saw Melania. She came out with a book.
Yeah.
And it's doing really well.
It's doing great.
Is she like your secret weapon? And how did you first meet her and kind of get her to fall for you?
I wouldn't call it a weapon, but a secret weapon, that's a tough term, but it's pretty interesting. But she's great. She's a wonderful person. She was a great first lady. People love her. Yeah, she wrote a book called Melania, and it's number one, I think, number one or two, and doing great. It's really doing good, and she worked hard on it. And yeah, she loves the country. She wrote something that was very good. I was a little bit nervous before I read it. You know, I said,
whenever the wife is going to talk
you never know.
about you.
I mean, maybe she said bad things, but she didn't.
Oh, what do you take away from Kamala having a beer with Stephen Colbert? Seems like that'd be the...
Well, you know, a lot of people thought it was terrible. A lot of people said she shouldn't be drinking at all. She shouldn't be drinking. She got some other problems, but it was a little different. No, they hit her.
Probably
hard.
drank Bud Light too.
She probably had a few before that too, right?
That was the one we saw.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be. That's what the rumor is. Yeah, the polls are looking good. The polls are. I want to get off that subject because you know if I criticize, I'll be criticized for but no, she probably shouldn't have done that. She got hit hard for that, right? But I don't think it was that big a deal. No.
How important is it? As you know, we're helping with Send the Vote, which we're helping
I
our
love
audience.
that.
Yeah. So if you guys, while President Trump's here too, I always say this too. We can't just talk about it and tweet about it. We got to actually get out and vote.
Thank you, fellas. That's good.
Any young people that are watching right now too, if you guys aren't registered to vote, you guys can go to sendthevote.com, and it has everything you need to make sure that your vote's actually going to be counted too. So we need everybody to get up and vote, and not just, you know, I think a lot of young people like to talk about it and they're passionate, but how important is it that people actually get out and vote?
Well, it's so important, and it's November 5th, but in every place just about you can vote early. And see, I'd like same-day voting like it used to be. One day, even if you declare like a holiday, one day. This way a lot of things can't happen. But we don't have that system. We have a system where you can vote at a leisurely pace, and we just hope that everybody goes out. We're going to make our, you know, I have a little statement. It's called Make America Great Again, MAGA, which is the biggest political movement in the history of the country. And we're going to make America great again, and we have to start. We did it, and then we had an interlude. We were rudely interrupted, and now it's happening again at a level that nobody's ever seen before. For instance, we're going to a location that I think some of you are coming. Who's going with us? Are you flying with us?
Me and him, yeah.
Good, fellas. You're going to have a good time.
Can't wait to see the plane.
So I hear that the crowd is rather breathtaking, the size of it. And you're going to have some fun.
Do you do many rallies in California? This is like a unique one.
No, but I've done them, and we've had a big look. I think that if the voting was legit in California, you know, it's all mail-in ballots, mail-out, mail-in. They're all over the place. Like, is it 36 or 38 million ballots? They get mailed. Everybody gets mail. Some people get more than one ballot. You know that, all this. They say that California, automatically you lose. I say that if it was a straight election, I would win in California because I do great with the Hispanics. With the African-American population, I'm getting record numbers. Nobody's ever seen that. For a Republican, record numbers. And, you know, I'm doing well. And I believe that if we had an honest election, if God would come down and be our vote counter, right? That would be an honest election. I think I'd win. But I do it in California because we have a lot of people ask me to do it. It's also near other states, so you know,
Right.
they're going to be going.
How come you're so genuine with every group you talk to? You never change your accents or try to appeal to who you're talking to.
Like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see you're always the same, so
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure that out.
I haven't tried that. I don't think it plays too well. I saw that the other day. I don't think it plays too well.
Yeah, I don't like it. Talking about, he was mentioning send the vote. What's your message to like first-time voters who are maybe 18, the youth?
Well, I think look, voting is a very great privilege. Some people don't appreciate it as young people, and other people appreciate it really a lot. It's like a very important day. They should appreciate it because it's very special. What we have to do is make sure the votes are counted, that it's all honest. We have an expression, too big to rig, because if you know, there's a point at which it's overwhelming. And we may be at that point. I mean, I hope we're at that point. We're going to turn the nation around. We're going to have strong borders, fair borders. I want people to come in. They have to come in legally.
Yeah.
We have people pouring into our borders from prisons, from jails. They're coming in from mental institutions. Nobody knows who they are, from all over the world, and they're coming into our country. They had 13,000 murderers coming into our country. They were murderers. They were in jail for murder. They released them into our country because it's very expensive to keep them in jail. You know, jails and all are very expensive. They have some that were going to get the death penalty. They released them into our country. So these people are released into the country. Drug dealers, drug lords are released into our country. And that's what we have. These people are crazy to allow this to happen. It should have never been allowed to happen. And we're going to get them out. We're going to get them out fast. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country left.
I have a question, Mr. President. So we have like a lot of college fans and a lot of fans that are going into college. College is like really expensive right now. What are you going to do to maybe like help make college less expensive and like more affordable?
Well, the biggest thing you can do is, and this is a little bit after college, you got to make sure everyone gets a job when they get out of college. And all of a sudden, things look a lot better. Biden was trying to do something with student debt, but he failed to get it done. He couldn't get it done. He couldn't get a lot of things done, but he wanted to do something on student debt, as you know, and it's dead. It just died. What we're going to do is certain colleges have tremendous amounts of money. I mean, almost an unfair amount of money. And we're looking at that, the endowments, using their endowments to help people. And they should use them. They should use endowment to help people finance it. But the federal government's going to remain financing, and they're going to help students. You got to help them. The biggest thing we can do is make the economy incredible. So when you get into college, you study something, and you get out, and you get yourself a great job. Right now, they don't have that. And the other thing is they're charging too much. The colleges have gone up more. The price of a college has gone up so much, more than almost anything else I can think of for an education. You know why? Because the government hands out money. So they have no reason to keep it down. So we're going to look into that very carefully. We're going to get it down for students. We're going to get it way down, and we're going to make it possible for them to be able to go to college.
All right, guys, I'm going to interrupt the pod really quick. I want to let you guys know about my favorite healthy snack, board jerky. All right, you guys know, you've seen me. I'm trying to be a little more healthy these days. I was getting too many comments, you guys telling me I look pregnant and shit. I was staying up all night crying. So now I'm into healthy snacks, and board jerky is one of my favorites. This jerky, if you guys try it, I don't even have to say it, try it for yourself. The quality of the jerky is absolutely unbelievable. And I'm a big jerky guy, and this jerky is by far the best. I'm traveling a lot all the time, so I always have board jerky on me when I get hungry. There's 4 different flavors. My favorite's the original. The macros are unbelievable. There's lots and lots of protein. So it's just a great healthy snack. Keep the barrel in check. But yeah, trust me, if you guys like jerky, try this out. And when you try it, you'll thank me. It's available on Amazon.com. The reviews are going through the roof. Everybody loves it. So go to Amazon.com right now. Give board jerky out a try. Keep it in your gym bags. Keep it in your backpacks. This is my favorite healthy snack. It's on me all the time. Amazon.com, board jerky. Let's get back on the pod.
You're doing a lot of podcasts recently. One that I would love to see you on is, I think Joe Rogan has to have you on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you do that?
Oh, sure I would.
I think Joe, like, besides us, Joe's
I think
obviously-
I'm doing it, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you are going to do Joe Rogan?
Yeah, I am.
That's going to be great. I think he
said.
should have had you on a long time ago because he's the best in the game. But
Is he the best, really?
I think besides
Well,
us and
well-
2 other,
Bradley Martin's here as well.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, Joe's obviously.
No, but Joe's the GOAT of the
Okay,
game.
so tell me, give us the order. Go ahead. What is it? Who's
Joe
best?
Rogan's the best in the game for sure, and I think
Yeah.
Did
him
Joe
having-
become so well known because of the UFC, and he does a great job with that, right? What was it that made Joe the best?
during COVID, he was very outspoken on all the corruption going on during COVID. And I think that's personally when I started watching him a lot too. And just, he's an honest guy too, right?
He is
So I think
good guy,
And I think you guys together would just
and he's
be,
got a good voice. That's important.
yeah.
He's got a good voice.
Been with the UFC for a long time,
Yeah,
right?
no, he's done it great. He does it incredibly, and that's a whole incredible thing, right?
Who's your favorite?
I just wonder, my favorite fighter.
favorite fighters. There are 3 favorites.
So I really like, but so I talked to Dana about this a lot. Who's the best, right? So a lot of people say John Jones is the best. He's fighting soon,
November.
And let's see, right after the election, I don't know. I'll either be in a very good mood or I won't.
You're going to be in a good mood.
I hope so. But yes, right after the election. But you would say Khabib. Some people would say Khabib. You know Khabib.
Khabib is
So
the
he's
best.
28-0 or 29, 28-0. And they say he never lost a round. Did you ever hear that? He never lost one round.
He just mauled people.
Yeah, he was great. And then he retired. His father died, and his father was his manager and I guess trainer and all. And he died, and he just said, "That's it." But I would say that he couldn't do better.
He's a big supporter of yours too, Khabib.
I heard that. I
saw him
met
come up to you
I
at
met him
UFC.
at one of the fights.
Do you
What?
remember what he said to you? I saw him come up to you at UFC.
He
It
did.
looked like he was
Yeah.
really passionate about something.
No, he's great. You know what he wanted to talk about? He wanted to say, is there any way you could stop the war? Because so many people are being killed. So, he has a heart. He's smart. How can you stop the war?
Can I ask you a question?
And we'll get it
specifically?
stopped, by the way. That's with Ukraine and Russia.
We did a podcast with RFK recently, and we've talked about sort of like the deep state. And I know you've talked about this
Yeah.
on other occasions. How do we, and how would you actually make an effective change there? Because it seems like Americans as a whole feel like their money is obviously, when we're spending it, our inflation's way up, but also a lot of our tax dollars seem to go overseas in foreign interest. How do we actually stop that? Because there's so much power behind that as far as like the military.
You gotta
industrial
stop what?
I guess the giving of American money overseas.
Oh, yeah.
And like, how do we keep more of that money here for Americans? Because there's this grip of, the military industrial complex and sending the money, and it's going to, American companies. It's like, how do we even beat something that's so
Yeah.
strong
Well,
held in our
one of the
country?
big things is trade, because we get taken advantage of on trade. If you guys were a little bit older, I'd say we get screwed on trade for years. A lot of times it's our friends that do it. We have Japan and the European Union, all the, and we're changing that whole thing around. We're going to bring the companies back. And you're right, it's a good question. We're bringing them back. We're going to keep our money here. We're going to pay down debt. I talk about liquid gold. We have more liquid gold, oil and gas, than any other country in the world, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia. And we're going to use it. We don't use it. We don't use it fully. We could supply the whole world, and we're going to pay down debt, and we're going to do great things. And that's why I'm doing now. In fact, I have to go, because I have to go right now to Coachella, and I think a couple of you guys are coming with me, and that's going to be fun. But we have a big crowd. Do you have any idea how big the crowd is?
No.
I'm hearing it's big.
We all know your rallies are the biggest, so.
Huh?
We know your rallies are the biggest.
We have great rallies.
We know
I
that.
like this guy. He's a nice guy.
There you go, Steiny.
I have to ask you about
Go
this.
ahead.
There's a very viral clip of you, or someone telling a story about you. You had a meeting with a leader of the Taliban, and you said, if you hurt any Americans, I will kill you. And you gave him a picture of his house and his location. I just want to verify if that's a true.
Well, I'm not allowed to comment on it, really. But let's put it this way. For 18 months, we were losing a lot of soldiers with the Taliban in Afghanistan. And for 18 months, we didn't lose one soldier, not one. And then I left, and these clowns took over. And then we had the worst, that whole situation was
Yeah.
horrible, right? With the airlift and the whole thing, and people falling off the airplanes.
It was sad.
Oh,
I remember at the RNC, I was there too,
Yep.
and when those
Yep.
Gold Star families came out and told their stories, it was just
they
insane to
lost
see that.
13, and many people so badly hurt. You know, nobody ever talks about them. Like the legs missing and the arms missing and the face obliterated. And that was all Biden. That was Biden's fault, just like, and her fault. She's the vice president. Did you see the other day where she said, no, I agree with everything he did? That was a killer. Her staff said, you got to be kidding. You couldn't have said that, because all the bad things they did. 325,000 children are missing. Did you know that? 325.
Is it just like purposeful negligence, or is it just like not
Incompetence.
knowing?
And
Like,
maybe bad, but incompetence. But you didn't hear that. 325,000 kids. They never write about it, the papers. Probably dead, many of them, or sex slavery. But 325,000 young children are dead coming through the border. Can you believe that? And you don't even hear about it. The press, the fake news doesn't want to write about it. They want to write if you talk about an election, but they don't want to write about that. 325,000 kids are dead because of Biden and Kamala. Now, we're going to straighten the country out, and we're going to get the bad guys out of our country very fast. The killers, the murderers, the drug dealers, we're going to get them out.
And yeah, the whole media obviously has just been against you, and I feel like it's flipping now. But even the talk show hosts, how we talked about 60 Minutes, we wanted to do this with you. The talk show hosts, are they great, or do we need to make them great again and kind of go one by one here?
Oh, he's
So
terrible. He's
great or great again, Jimmy Kimmel?
Well, he's not. You know, he's not. First of all, they all have bad ratings. The one that's the most successful is Greg
who?
Greg Gutfeld. So Jimmy Kimmel, we got to make him great
well,
again.
Jimmy Kimmel's a loser. Look, we would do Jimmy Kimmel. I'd do Jimmy Kimmel. I did him a lot.
Yeah.
He used to greet me on the sidewalk outside of his studio. I'd come in. This was before politics, of course. But I'd come in, and he'd be standing on the sidewalk. Oh, sir, may I bring you in? He'd bring me in every time. And then I ran for politics. I never, got involved with him much. But
Switch up.
all they do is talk bad about Trump. That's all. The whole show is talking bad about Trump.
Yeah.
They're all equally bad. But we'll go through the View.
View.
I know them. So Whoopi's a filthy mouth on her. I've hired Whoopi over the years, at hotels that I own. We hired her once, and I went. She was so filthy, disgusting, dirty with her mouth that the whole group left. There was nobody watching her. She was a comedian, and you know what? Nobody knows this. She said, I admire you so much. Would you do me a favor, what? Would you do a cameo in a movie I'm making? I did a cameo in some crummy movie she made. And then I run for politics. Joy is, she thought the world was flat. You saw that, right? Joy is dumb. The other one worked for me. She wrote a letter. One of them, I don't know, whatever her name is. She worked for me in the White House. She writes a letter. This was the greatest experience. You're the greatest president. I love you. You're the greatest president. There's nobody. We have the letter someplace. It's a letter that she wrote when she left the White House. Then all of a sudden they hire her and she goes negative. Okay, they said, hey, we'll give you a lot of money if you go negative, whatever her name is. Let's see, the other two I didn't know. Oh, this guy I know, Jimmy Fallon. I'm telling you, I hate to use, but they're all losers. They're all lightweights, though. This guy, so I'm on his show before politics many times, but him and before him, it makes you realize how great Johnny Carson was, actually. That's the only thing, because there's nothing to watch. Their ratings are horrible. They're cutting him back to 4 days, which is, can you imagine cutting Johnny Carson back to 4 days? That didn't happen. But Johnny Carson, I grew up with him and others that were very talented. These people, so Jimmy Fallon asks me if he could do one thing. Could he play with my hair? And I said, what do you want to do that for? I want to see if it's real. It is real, but if you have to do it, you can do it. So he didn't just play. He puts his hand in my hair, and he went crazy. And the audience went wild, and they loved it. And that was the end of that. And it played, and he got very high ratings on the show. 6 months later, he stood up. He was the radical left went after him because they humanized me. And 6 months later, he goes up on the show, and he said, I'd like to apologize for doing that. I didn't realize I was going to humanize. He was a nice guy. and he was doing badly, but now he's doing much worse. He lost his whole audience when he did that. You know, another loser is Howard Stern.
When he's on that list, yeah, we'll pull
when
him up.
when he left me, because I dropped him, I didn't want to do a show anymore. Howard Stern, because he was considering Hillary. He's not for Hillary. He's not for Hillary, but he wanted to be politically correct or something. Didn't work out too well. His show's practically dead, I think. I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard his name in years, but now he did an interview with her. It was so sad. He's like asking her all these easy questions, like written out. Oh, and what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And it's just a different guy. I used to do a show. I had numerous of his top 10 shows ever. You know, they had a top 10 list.
Right.
Today, I understand they disbanded the list because I was on it so much. Greg Gutfeld is great. Greg Gutfeld didn't like me when he first started. He just didn't like me. And then I could watch. It was a beautiful thing. He said, you know, I don't like him. But he said he was going to knock out ISIS, and he did. He said he was going to have a strong border, and he did. He said employment, everything was good. He said, I'm starting to like him. Then a little more time goes by. He said, well, am I better off liking somebody who's incompetent or not liking somebody and everything he does works out great for the country? And he ended up liking me a lot. But I did his show 2 weeks ago, and his ratings were the highest ratings he's ever had. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I saw it. It was
surprising.
funny. It was really good.
His show was, and he has some nice people. Tyrus is great, really nice people. But his show was the highest rated show he's ever had, and he won the weekend television, so that's good. But I really like Greg. Greg is good. Greg is talented. Now, the other one on CBS is just crazy. This one, Stephen Colbert. All he does is talk about me. I don't watch it, but all he does is talk about me. Did you ever hear of Trump derangement syndrome? He's got it more than
He's got it
anybody.
for sure.
Well, Kimmel has it too.
Kimmel threw shots at us for having you on the first time.
He
I don't
called
know
us.
if you
He
remember
called us doofuses when we had you on.
You know what you do?
And guess what? We
Ask
did
him how many-
5x what he did. We did
Ask him.
5x of
Yeah, you
views.
do bigger. Yeah, you
Yeah.
do. His show's dying. This one show is dying. Colbert is dying. I don't know. They get paid, I assume, a lot of money.
Yeah.
I could get guys for $75,000 a year that have far more talent than him. I'll take, as an example, any one of you. But we could put people on that have, for Peter's. So Greg Gutfeld is the only one that's really got talent. He does have talent. He's got an amazing talent.
I want to ask you because that Al Smith charity dinner,
Yeah.
years ago, you went up on stage and you pointed out and called out Chuck Schumer. He used to be my friend. This person used to be my friend, and they switched up on you. And it's happening next week, I think, the dinner.
I'm the speaker, yeah.
Has anybody come around and apologized or come back to your support?
Sometimes they do, and sometimes they say, "Do you mind keeping it quiet?" Yeah, I have a lot.
Does that bother you?
People go into the voter booth, and they vote for me, and then they go on a television show and they'll say bad stuff.
What's the fear around it? Just that you're against what they're for? Or?
So it's a very interesting phenomena. I shouldn't be unhappy about it, but I don't know. It's there's a liberal bent in the country, and people think that they're better off being that side, even though it doesn't work. In other words, it's politically correct, but the country would die if you went with that. It would absolutely die. They vote for me. I do well in California. If we had an honest vote, I'm telling you, in California, I think I'd win California.
I saw the support at the Long Island one in New York too.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
So I did one in Long Island. I had the arena, right? The
Yeah.
Islander Arena. I think it's called Nassau Coliseum or something. It's the equivalent of like Madison Square Garden. I just signed on Madison Square Garden. I hope you guys. Hey, you guys have to come.
We'll come. We'll be there.
I want you to come, and I'll sell it out very quickly. Look, we're going to a place. I don't know what the number is going to be, but in Butler, Pennsylvania, the other day, we had 101,000 people. You saw that, right?
Yeah, it was amazing.
101,000. It was honoring
saw the
really
aerial.
Corey, the firefighter, who was great.
Wow.
But he died. He died at a rally. He was shot by a lunatic, and 2 other people were supposed to die, but they had great doctors, and they didn't. But we had 101,000 people. I think you're going to have a lot of people today.
A lot.
Now, here's the bad news. It's going to be 102 degrees, so I have to go.
Okay. Well,
And you're coming with me?
We're
We'll have a
coming with
little
you on
fun,
the plane.
okay?
We appreciate you having us, President Trump.
Because I see my people are going crazy over there.
Oh, that's it?
At a certain point, you don't mind if they go crazy, but then you say, okay, it's time to go. Time to go, right? Okay.
Like you told us back in the day, never fold 4 years ago, and we never fold, and
You
we're never
never
going to fold.
folded.
We're still
never
here.
Oh,
gonna
by
fold.
the way, that's true. For your right. They never folded. They said, we're not going to take it, and we all took it together, right?
Took it together.
But I did predict what was going to happen.
You did.
But you set your all-time record, right? You had-
Oh, I think it was the YouTube
you had
record.
12 million people in like a matter of minutes, and then they said, we're not going to. All because I wanted to say how corrupt the election was. And I told you that would happen. They can't defend it. So what they do is they try and stifle it.
Yep.
And it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Can I ask one more question?
We're changing. Yeah.
When you win, how do you plan to unify sort of the divide in the country as far as left and right goes?
By coming back on your show.
There
I'll
we
come
go.
back on your show.
Should we do it at the White House?
Actually, success is going to unify the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that. We were so successful, and this country was getting unified. People that you would have never thought would have been involved and talk. They were calling. They were meeting. Radical left people, very liberal Democrats. We had the best numbers. Everything was the best. We had the best numbers. We had the best trades. We had the best employment numbers. African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, men, women, high school education, a degree from MIT, Harvard, and the Wharton School of Finance, right?
Yeah.
Everybody was doing the best, and the country was becoming unified. And I saw it. I wouldn't have said this. I wouldn't have given you this answer otherwise. Success will unify the country.
Awesome. Well,
Okay.
we'll do the next one in the White House.
We'll do it.
Let's do it.
Now, you
good.
guys are
Thank
great.
you, President
You
Trump.
guys are great guys. You have a good thing going.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Who would
And
have
everybody
thought,
get
right?
out there and vote.
Yeah.
Who would have thought I'll be here
Yep.
again?
Get out and vote. Make sure you vote for Trump. Now, if you don't vote for Trump, don't vote.
Don't vote. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Trump.
Let's see how much sugar is in the leading hard iced teas. The competition has 20 grams of sugar per can, and there's 12 cans in a case, which comes to 240 grams. Let's measure that. So that's 69 sugar cubes per case. Instead, Happy Dad Hard Iced Tea has 1 gram of sugar per can, or only 12 grams of sugar for the entire case. That's only 3 sugar cubes. Drink Happy Dad Hard Iced Tea, and don't feel guilty about it.